Alright, that one's actually pretty cool. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show, the Gibson MOD Collection update. Starting things off with the Kachinaru Dragon for $7,000. It's a Firebird 5 reissue with these lime green sides and then like a key lime pie center. But if you zoom in, you can see why they're talking about dragons. It actually has like a scale-like pattern in the center. Now granted, it's not the most traditional color scheme we've ever seen, but it's unique. I like it. You even have that red switch tip there on the pickguard. And your yellowed over knobs just start to look green in this case. Same thing's kind of true with your inlays. But if you're asking yourself, how far did they take it? They took it all the way. You've got that on the headstock. You've got it on the back of the body. You've got the matching backplate as well. Now, as far as the full body shot, no, they didn't do any scaly design on the neck. However, I think I do agree with them on this occasion that it just would have looked too strange. But then they had jazzy gold for a little under $4,000. We reviewed one of these a couple years ago, and I still have it. But not gonna lie, I think I like this version just a little bit better. The gold really works. It reminds you of the old 50s gold tops. You've got the trapeze tailpiece to make you kind of think of a 52, even though that's a completely different style. But it looks like you got the black and gold ABR1 bridge. Wow, that's a fun little touch. I mean, if you're gonna make a freaky, weird Les Paul Jr. rhythm, it might as well have other fancy features to it and look closer to a jazzy instrument. And if you flip on over to the back, it's an all gold. And this is Demo Shop serial number 110. And it's got the correct custom shop style case. And I saved one more fun thing for last. You've got the old-timey Gibson silkscreen on the headstock with a matching gold. Emerald Sunrise is next on our list for $3,300. It's just kind of a nice over-the-top sparkly green Les Paul standard. Can't go wrong there. Especially with the really streaky rosewood, I like that. And then it looks like you have a metallic green on the back, but it's just not super sparkly. That's gonna be a real missed opportunity if this is not a money green case. It's not. But as a consolation prize, that's a custom shop case for the Gibson USA, so that's a win. And now we've got Butter Top. Personally, I think it's more like a strawberry lemonade before it's been mixed up, because you got a yellow on the top and then kind of a washed out cherry side. But you no longer have a pickguard on it, you still have the tenon cover, but they've upgraded it to the Dirty Fingers pickups. But you'll notice this is actually an SG custom. It's got the ebony fretboard with abalone inlays, so that's what makes that one a little bit more different. And as is natural, they match the headstock logos with that as well. But whoa! Was not expecting candy apple red on the back, but kind of an interesting stamped serial number on that one. But all things considered, $4,400 for the abalone inlays and everything, it makes sense. They probably just didn't have too high hopes of how that particular one turned out. But that's okay, it found a loving home. But now it's time for my personal favorite this week, the ebony gold top. When I first saw this, I kind of hated it because it's like, what is going on here? It's not a straight line. I was expecting this to be perfectly whoosh, half and half, going strong. So that's what the top is finish-wise, but then you get the uncovered humbuckers, you get the metal knurled knobs, but if you notice, these two are gold, these two are black, so it kind of matches the whole black and gold yin-yang thing going on. And then you get to the headstock, they have the exact same thing, which is unusual on a Gibson. But then I got to the back and was rather shocked to see amber to satin. Ugh. And hey, where'd our binding go? This is a custom after all. And at nearly $6,000, it should have everything. But then I went back to the top and I went, I see what you guys are doing here. Did you notice the inlays are for a Les Paul standard, which would be akin to a gold top, but as an ebony custom, it still has the ebony fretboard. It still has the custom binding on the front, but the Les Paul standard / gold top vibe on the back. That's why you don't have the binding here. That's why it's the more natural ambered over hue. Custom primarily on the front, standard primarily on the back. But if that was a bit too crazy for you, they also had clear sky blue Les Paul custom for $6,300. That appears to maybe be a 74 and or a 68 reissue, because it has the ABR1 bridge, so it's not just a regular custom, so that makes sense for the price, but it's just a nice flat blue. It nearly has a 50s aesthetic with the plastic tuner tips, although they're the Gibson USA style. But wow, that serial's really hard to read. That's the first one I've seen done up in yellow. Looks like it says DS0112 maybe? But I was pretty pumped to see this, our first custom color Theodore. There's $3,000 and they just did gold. More specifically, very gold, so it looks like it got like a metallic sheen to it, which it's a little boring. I would have liked to have seen something crazier like our tulip colors, but if they've done this one, you might see more. The gold hardware does not look bad on one of these, and it looks especially good on the back. But that had quite the premium to it, $3,000. But someone bought it, so that's going to encourage them to do more. There was also a metallic plum top standard 60s for $3,100. As the name implies, it's a metallic-y purple top, and only the top. It's a natural back. Interesting wood grain. But then toasted placer lime. It's $3,400. Looks like some sort of a lime burst with a splattering of metal flake that shines gold. Could be a good St. Patty's Day guitar, even though we're past that. But just like the last one, still a natural back. And to follow that up, Sangria Sparkle. $2,300 for this SG standard, but you've got a P94 in the neck position. That's always cool. And it's just kind of a plum metallic finish. Reminds me of the old SG robots. But you also have the metal knurled knobs and a complete matching back. Jump over to the European mod collection with a rather unappetizing finish called Satin Peanut Butter. It's kind of a brown V, but at least it's not advertised as a custom shop like on the demo shop from last week. In fact, I'm more so impressed how they did the pickguard, because that looks like a custom material, or maybe they just painted it, I don't know. Should have matched the truss rod cover. But whoa, I did not even realize that. So the body got all the finish. The neck did not, that's still natural. And if you zoom into your headstock, it actually has a peanut butter stinger. There was also Orange Lava, Les Paul Special for $1,900. It's just kind of a lava-y color. Although if you zoom in, that is quite striking. If blue's more your style, how about Dark Pelham? That looks pretty good on a special, especially since they did the entire guitar. And this one really confuses me. It's called Tobacco Perimeter Burst Satin, except for it's not a perimeter burst, it's a teardrop shape. Perimeter burst means you've got the color around the entire perimeter. Teardrop means it looks like a drop of water. And it's not like they did it on the back or something, but it does look like you have the High Performance Series circuit. So that might be why someone purchased it. Then we had this wacky 70s deluxe in honey gold. As a deluxe, it's supposed to have a mini humbucker up here, but it's got a P90 in the bridge just for fun. Kind of a slightly ambered over hue as compared to a regular gold top. And they left it with a red back. Now it's time for the demo shop's USA side first. We had a fairly decent amount of new guitars this week to choose from, such as this all-gold 57 reissue, as well as a 59 that got modified with black plastics. I thought it had an interesting top. Like, it's not the biggest flames we've ever seen, but it's consistent throughout the entire top, and you get some wood grain under it. But the back was still left with aniline dyes, but you do not have the Les Paul silkscreen on the headstock. This SJ200 is really cool. So, I mean, it's just natural, nothing too crazy until you get to the back. Ooh-wee, that's a nice one. So much wood grain. I guess at the same time, it kind of makes it look cheap, but I dig it. And of course, you get the flamage on the neck, too. That one's got some cool character. They had one of the white 80s style Flying Vs for a decent discount, $17.99. But I thought this 64 reissue SG was pretty cool as well. Batwing guard style. But once again, it's the wood grain that steals the show for this one. And now the things that sold quickly, they had a Pelham Blueburst 61 SG Standard. $1,400 was not bad on that at all. They basically just motoified and creamed out your plastics. Then they also had a classic white 61 SG Standard, if the blue was a bit too crazy. But by far, my goodness, this was the best deal this whole entire week. $2,500 for the Gibson.com exclusive 3-pickup Les Paul Supreme. My friends, these are 4,000 brand new, non-negotiable on Gibson's website. So $1,500 off, and all that was changed was the nut. And then another no-brainer, the elusive 80s Explorer in classic white. Again, another Gibson.com exclusive. They're $2,500, but they've been out of production, so people have been asking crazy prices of these on Reverb. I have 2 new Guitar Dayers still waiting a good 6 months for the next batch. And I'm happy to say I was actually here on time. I was able to snag this one. So we will get a review, and I'm going to give my 2 new Guitar Dayers the option. Do you want the factory blemished one, or you've waited all this time? You might as well wait just a little bit longer for a factory first. So will it be available? I don't know at this point in time. But we will, at very bare minimum, see it get unboxed. Then they also had this Cobalt Burst modern figure. They whited out the plastics and gave it gold hardware. And real quickly, the overseas demo shop starting in the UK. A lot of signature ones like the Dave Mustaine, Gene Simmons bass, Epiphone Slash, Acoustic Dave, and then one lonely Les Paul Supreme Dark Wine Red for the same price as us American buyers. And then to Europe, one of the Korean Epiphones sold for him. There was also an import Sheraton 2 Pro. You know, usually I'm not about the light-colored fretboards. But maybe it's because I've been looking at the maple fretboarded Gibsons of the 70s and 80s. But I'm starting to warm up to it. I kinda like that look. Darkness with lightness. But you know what it actually is? It's the yellowed binding. It enhances that. And the gold hardware. And then there's also an Adam Jones and one of those fadeds. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed the recap this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.